So I waited 8 years for this.
And I've waited 8 days.
So recently, Jordon and I both just replayed the original Hollow Knight game. This was about my 3rd time playing through it.
It was my first time ever trying it out.
So it was really fun. We had a lot of really good discussion, just kind of playing this up until Silksong. It's a highly anticipated game overall, and I just want to make this completely clear overall. We're going to discuss a lot of different Silksong topics, completely spoiler heavy. We're going to be showing bosses, talking about bosses.
Deep into Act 3.
Every single thing. Both of us have. I've done it 100%. You are...
A fair percent?
Okay. I will say you like 85?
Something like that. Yeah, there's a few bosses that I know about that I didn't try that were like some of the Weenie Hut Jr. ones, but other than that, it's that and collecting a few tools.
Exactly. But again, we both beat Act 3, completed it, rolled credits, almost 3 times for me now. Freaking ridiculous. So, yeah, I guess let's just go ahead and get into it. We're going to be talking about a bunch of different things. Really excited. And, yeah, let's just jump into it.
The first thing we want to talk about is the best boss in the game.
So we're probably going to go over our top 3 bosses. I think that's what we want to do, but we'll have a overall favorite.
Yeah, like let's write down the overall favorite, but we'll talk about our favorites leading up to it.
Fantastic.
Really got to think about this one.
I do too, actually, now that I... All right, we ready?
3, 2, 1. Not surprised to see that at all.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Good one. Explain.
All right, so leading up to mine, like, First Sinner was probably my 2nd favorite boss in the game. Like, followed very closely behind is Lost Lace, with Act 3 final boss. Fantastic. Just overall, each one of those has a lot of the same elements that I really like. It's super fast paced. There's a lot of different moves that you have to remember. The only thing that's holding me back from Lost Lace taking any more space is she does one of the most annoying things that I can't stand in any boss fight, and that's constant teleportation. She's constantly moving around and like hiding, and then what was even more frustrating, I've got so many bits of gameplay where I'm literally running away from one of her attacks and she spawns underneath me. Yeah. And like, not a terrible design, but frustrating enough for me to not want to bump it up a little bit higher. First Sinner had a little bit of the same thing. I would go to smack it, it would teleport away. It wasn't nearly as egregious as Lost Lace. But also, First Sinner just had a lot of really obviously telegraphed attacks.
Definitely.
And it made for a fantastic dance. Like, it felt like a straight dance fighting First Sinner. When you get to that next phase where all of the, like, I can't remember what whatever the movies where the giant balls are spawning and you have to dodge them because they explode. Beautiful. However, Scarsinger Carmelita had the same level of difficulty, actually a little bit more. Like
she gave me grief.
Yeah. First Sinner was... I had like maybe 5 or 6 tries and she was done.
Definitely.
Again, awesome fight. Super cinematic. Scarsinger Carmelita definitely had a natural progression of what First Sinner kind of artificially did, where it gives you that feeling of like a dance fight, where you're moving out of the way of one attack, jumping through and over to punish a little bit for another. But Carmelita didn't have them as telegraphed.
Yeah.
Like, it was you definitely had to get good in order to get this fight done. And what was really cool that I don't see with a lot of bosses, when you get to the next phase, a lot of bosses, their attacks will ramp up.
Sure.
For Scarsinger Carmelita, she mixed in the phase 1 and phase 2 attacks. Like, there were times where she would just throw 1 projectile, and there were other times where she'd throw 2. So, like, you really had to, like, stay on top of what was going on. You couldn't just, like, get comfortable and say, like, oh, I gotta just double jump to get out of this, because if you try to double jump to avoid both of the throwables, but she only threw 1 and then moved that into her jump attack, it was over for you.
Yeah. Plus the soundtrack for that one, bangs. Very good.
It's so cool when you knock her and she's stunned and the singing stops in the soundtrack. Yeah. It's just so good.
Hades 2 actually does something similar to like that, like where the soundtrack stops. So I thought that was great. Again, another awesome thing. I think for both of those, First Sinner is just the one for me. Like, once we fought it, I was like, yeah, this is the one. This is all the sauce. Like, it's like you were saying, it's like everything that I love in a good boss fight. Like, I love, the visuals are awesome. The soundtrack is the same as Widow, but I feel it makes sense for both. I mean, for both of them, and it works to great degrees. For some reason, I don't hate the teleporting, because again, I hate a boss that feels like it runs away from me, like an Elden Ring. The final, what is it? The stupid beast ring. Like,
the Elden Beast.
I am literally chasing that boss consistently, like running. And like in a 3D space, it's frustrating. But on a 2D space with limited frames, like and plus Silksong's movement, like I'll show some gameplay. I'm in the Reaper's Crest. I'm running to the left, doing the uppercut, completely going to the next, doing the, so it's like, it just felt so fast paced and so fun. I was never in any of my gameplay that you'll see, like I'm never just sitting there ever unless I'm healing. Like when I just did my recent replay and I fought him, I think I beat it my first try too. So again, I also didn't find it the super hardest, but I don't think it has to be hard to be like just a good boss fight. Just freaking bangs. And then, so yeah, what were your other two, like if you had like the top three, just like,
Lost Lace number 3, First Sinner number 2. Again, Lost Lace was awesome. That's probably the longest it took me to beat any boss in this game specifically. There were some Hollow Knight bosses that took me a little bit longer, but I started off, I've got some gameplay, I might send it to you, where I start off and I'm like, man, this is going to be a great time, and like 10 minutes in, I'm like, I'm not, no need to get frustrated, we're doing fine. Then 4 minutes later, I'm screaming at the TV just with how unfair the boss fight is. Yeah. But it was just, it was super cool, and everything that you said for First Sinner is absolutely true. Yeah. I like the difficulty a little bit more. Like, it just elevated Carmelita for me just a little bit above First Sinner. Again, like you said it perfectly, a boss doesn't have to be hard to be good. I mean, Cogwork Dancers is easily in my top 5, and that is a super easy fight. Yeah. The aesthetics of it all, the music, the story when you knock one of them out, and then it's just the other one that's dancing. Yeah. Beautiful, but just something about Carmelita. I was like, there was not a time where I was mad. The whole time I was just like, do it, lady. You're all right. Time to get back into this.
Crushing it. Absolutely. There's one that I have that's probably up here, but I will refrain because we are going to talk our worst and underrated bosses, so I don't want to give one away. So, because again, we're in the same boat. There's like 6 to 8 of these. I feel I could make an easy argument for like top 3. Like really could. Carmelita's high up there for me, but I'll refrain from my other one because I do think this boss is severely underrated. So let's go ahead and let's jump into our worst boss. Once again, this is Silksong. There are no bad bosses.
There are no bad bosses. I will say, in the last discussion we had, we literally did not talk at all during my first playthrough of Hollow Knight because we wanted to completely blind go in and understand like, oh, so that's what you thought about this. We were playing Silksong at the same time with the headphones on, talking to each other. This poor guy has heard for the last 3 weeks my disdain for the boss that I'm about to write down here.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, that's fair. You know what? I might need to change mine, but
yours is very justified. Very justified. Right, so I'll go into mine because the Pale Stag, the problem with that is I think it's between that and the Savage Beastfly. I will say I don't know what yours specifically on. Mine is on the version 2 of this fight, the one where you're at the lava. Yeah. That fight frustrates me, but I think Pale Stag, just like what I mentioned earlier, you said that you hated bosses that teleport. That's this stupid boss the whole freaking time, and it's like No Eyes, and they were just like, let's just do that again, but it teleports so much more frequently. I think you can only get one slash at a time.
The stats for No Eyes, it's got a 33% chance of teleporting when you hit it. Pale Stag, literally, you could only get one hit. I recorded the whole fight, and literally the second that I touched it, even times where I just got near it, it got spooked and it ran. I would hardly call it a boss. Yeah. Like the fact that it's on the list of bosses still baffles me.
And that's my issue, because at least with Savage Beastfly, I think it's up there with my least favorites, but I do not think it is as bad in the original as some others do. I think it's like some bosses in Hollow Knight, the first one, if you're a little more underpowered, which you kind of are, you fight that one probably a little too early on, in my opinion, because just like some of the other bosses in the original Hollow Knight, they give you the extra enemies. And if you're 3-4 tapping them, it's frustrating too, because they're constantly doing crap. So, but anyways, I don't think I found that one to be as frustrating as some others. And there are telegraphed moves, like when he's doing the slam attack and you can hit the dodge, and like that works to some degree as a boss. I think Pale Stag is just an irritating non-boss.
Yeah.
It's a non-boss. Like it's nothing. And I'm like, I came all the way for this. Like, it's so irritating. And they just do the one attack. They just throw the stupid rings at you or whatever they are, and you just dodge like 10 of them at a time. Like, it's annoying. Hate bosses that run away from me. So
that's probably why I didn't even think about Pale Stag. Like, it didn't come to the top of my head because I just didn't consider it like an actual boss.
Right.
I hate to say this, slight tangent. Lost Verdania, I hope that's how you pronounce that, Biome, but overall, I hate to say that it was kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
But like, even like going to the Clover Dancers, like literally just a Cogwork Dancers reskin with one new attack and less creativity.
Less sauce.
There was not enough sauce, not nearly enough sauce. They tried to get the story to carry, which it did.
It did.
But it just left a bad taste in my mouth. The area was beautiful, but like just everything that was designed in there just made me a little bit sad.
For sure. But I have the good thing with the Savage Beastfly stuff, I have so much footage that I'm going to play of both of us raging. Me on the second fight, you on the first, because it's a lot.
It was bad.
I hate this boss with every fiber of my being. You cannot be serious.
I will be honest, the second one didn't bother me nearly as much. And
That's so crazy.
I think that's because, one, I was definitely more powered up by the time that I got to the second one. Like, I had no unlocks except for the throwing dagger when I got to the Savage Beastfly for the first time. Like, I muscled my way through the Hunter's March with no extra crest, no extra nothing. I literally had the one extra attack, the throwing dagger, and I said, I'm not leaving this arena until this thing is dead at my feet. And that's where I made the mistake. I actually posted a video talking about this, and so many people came back and they were like, it's so easy, just switch your crest. Why aren't you using more tools? Brother, I didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't have it.
Upon replay, you visit it very early, and like you don't have a lot of tools. And like I said, that's what I find is frustrating about that, is it spawns the extra enemies. If we were one tapping them, heck, even two tapping them, but I think three taps at that point, because you get no nail upgrades by the time you're at Savage. You don't get a first nail upgrade for a while in this game, so
it takes a minute. I also have just some complaints about Savage Beastfly's design. Like, I know I said, I'm such a hypocrite. I said that there's no bad bosses. This one was a bad boss. It was poorly designed.
Sure.
It had easily telegraphed attacks. Makes sense. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
There's a problem with the hitboxes. And I know people are going to say, oh, that's such a loser complaint. It wasn't even the fact that I was getting hit by the boss, although that is a problem. There were times where I was getting clipped by maybe the tiniest pixel of a wing, and boom, 2 damage is gone. But the problem with the hitboxes is specifically with the Beastfly itself and the ads. Part of the design of the boss, they expect you to do this, it was designed this way, is to bait the Beastfly to slam on top of the ads and kill them.
Right.
Like, some people said, oh, they have to be close to the ground. I disagree. I've seen them being a little bit higher and definitely get squished. There were times where I was counting on that to happen. I baited the fly to smash into the ads, and it did nothing. The ads stayed alive, and I got hit, and I died. That just needs to be better.
Yeah.
It really does. And then the fact that the Beastfly will track you, like, when it zooms across the map, that's fine. But the fact, like, if I'm jumping in the air and it's going to auto-adjust to that, it just makes it a little bit harder to follow along. That's not as much a problem with the boss design as it is with me, but that definitely becomes a problem in the second fight because it goes off-screen.
I was about to say
see it when it's off-screen.
That
is a problem.
I have so many clips of that, and that was when I looked back and I was like, I actually think this is bad. This is, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but I'm like, I think this is a bad design decision because, like, same thing. You couldn't tell where it was at height-wise. So I don't know if I need to jump, not jump, stand still. And I got clipped so many freaking times. So definitely agree. I think Savage Beastfly in general is the overall poorest. Like I said, I put Pale Stag on here just because it's such a non-boss, but that is definitely
I feel bad. It's a gimme for sure. Like if there was another boss that I really didn't like, let me look at my notes here because I took notes on best and worst bosses. It was definitely Father of the Flame. That was lame.
Yes, that one's up there with. I was like, man, I know what you were trying. I feel like that and Fourth Chorus have a similar, like, they were like, this is the vision we're going for. Fourth Chorus was a good execution. Father of the Flame was a non-good execution. I found that. I was like, yeah, that's definitely on the poor ones.
Yeah. And I think
that's bottom 5 for sure.
It's crazy because people, like, glaze that fight.
First Flame?
Yeah. Or Father of Flame, because they're like, it's cool that you can't get any silk. Because you're only pairing this.
I hated that so
and
much.
I get that adds to the challenge, but I mean, it's literally just dodging the simplest flame attacks.
You're just pogoing and you have to dodge.
Exactly.
The ones at the top, there's nothing to do other than pogo. Like literally, you have to. It's a pogo boss fight, which again, love a good pogo, but it doesn't do anything. That's definitely up there. So, Jordan, what's the next topic we're discussing?
I want to talk about the most underrated boss, in your opinion, because there are 46 bosses total, and some of them are great and get swept under the rug because of things like First Sinner and Carmelita.
Yeah, that's
so.
Fair.
What is a fight that you actually super enjoyed that just didn't get enough love?
I feel like people are gonna think my choice is dumb. I mean, like, how is that underrated? But I have reason.
I know exactly what you're going with.
Of course, I have valid. I feel like I have no clue what your underrated boss is. So
3, 2, 1.
Oh, nice!
Yeah,
you mentioned it.
I mentioned it briefly. Like, I was trying to gauge how you were feeling, just like, because I thought about this question, and I was like, am I going to look like an idiot?
Hit me with why.
I don't know. Yeah, I wish I had a better reason. Yeah. So I am going to say this, and people are probably going to disagree. This is the best ad fight in the game.
I see.
It's got the best utilization of additional enemies that are being spawned in. I don't ever feel like I'm being overwhelmed. I like the variety of the enemies that they throw in there. Like, there's the simple little swoop ones. There's the one that you have to actually engage in the little needle to pin action. And then there's the ones that, like the aspids from the first game, that throw the stuff. I never had as much of a problem with that in this game.
Sure.
Like, I think just because I coming fresh off of Hollow Knight, I was very familiar with the aspids game.
Sure.
And so I had to very quickly figure out how to dodge the 3 knife attack.
Yep.
And then his moveset was never horrible. Like, it was simple enough to follow along. You could pogo off of him a decent amount of times to get some fat damage. Yep. And then it was just a cool surprise for him to, like, throw all the thorns out at you, and you had to make sure that you were in the right space. You had to have just a good utilization of your environment. You got plenty of soul back from dealing with the ads that came in. Yeah. And I was at a high enough level to where, though it took me a little bit to, like, it took like 2 or 3 whacks to get some of these guys down. I just never felt like I was overwhelmed. Yeah. And just the atmosphere of all of the craws standing behind you and flying out to attack. Yeah. Just overall, it was such a cool, and I saw so many people hating on Crawfather, and it just made me sad because I really, really enjoyed it.
See, I'm in the same boat where it's like, I feel like people are going to be like, oh, underrated. Like, everyone talks about The Last Judge. This boss doesn't get like, it's in my top 5. I think it's in my top 3. Like, I think it's that third slot there too. I think this boss is excellent. And the reason I'm going underrated is because everyone brushed over this boss fight because all I saw was people whining about the run back. The run back that is averagely difficult at best. I mean, I'm not the good guy, but, like, I mean, seriously, I'm going to show you a clip of my run back, and it's basic. This is no BioWater run back. Like, this was a very, very simple run back, and I feel everybody was just whining about that. Like, so like no one appreciated it. Like, it's just sick. When I replayed it, I'm like cheesing thinking about it. Like, it's got the locked door, and it starts playing the song to unlock, and then in the background it just and like what, and then just comes down. Like, the movesets is awesome. The song, it's like a freaking Dark Souls or like From Software level track. I think that track is excellent. Phase 1 and 2 are great. Same thing. I never once was frustrated because you could see the very well telegraphed attacks. Nothing I felt was bogus. Crazy fun fight. I just think everyone got way too hung up on the run back that was not even difficult. Like,
I 100% agree, and I think that I had a little bit of a different experience because my first time getting the Last Judge, I went through the mist.
Right.
Like that's how I went through the mist. I didn't even go through Blasted Steps by the time that I got to the Citadel. My first time going to Blasted Steps, I think, was when I got to the Last Judge. And that run back was nothing. I literally, because I was trying not to look stuff up at the time, I was like, why is everyone complaining about this run back? I just hop over 3 enemies and I'm there. This is cake. Literally. So, like, I totally understand where you're coming from on how the Last Judge is just an excellent fight. I love how it ramps up with the fire. Yeah. And then, of course, they gave you the Magma Bell that you can use to reduce the damage.
I feel like most people just forgot about that. There's a lot of things in this game and the original. I feel like you're frustrated and then you realize later, you're like, oh, there was a tool to help me with that. And like, I didn't utilize it or whatever. So
much more so in this game. We'll talk about the structure of the game later down the line, but this game was a lot more linear than Hollow Knight. Like Hollow Knight was just go wherever the heck you want. You need a tool to get through this, but you can go through without it. You were literally locked in some sections here until you beat a certain boss or acquired a certain tool.
So there's a couple things while we're still on bosses before we move on. I'm irritated that I did, like, that's the problem is there's so many here. I didn't touch on the fact that I love Phantom too. I need to give Phantom love. Just because, same thing, the presentation, I love that. I should have talked about that more in my best bosses, but I loved Phantom. And what we're going to do here too, I'm overruling with a dedicated Trobio section, because we didn't even mention the Trobio at all. So I will put his intro in there, the Trobio, because we both talked about specifically the Tormented version.
So good.
Excellent boss fight.
Oh my gosh.
Same thing. This thing that's sucky when you've got a lot. I think there are 6-ish bosses in Silksong that are some of Hollow Knight's best. So it's very difficult to like dwindle it down. I love a lot of them, but I was like, there's no way we're about to leave the boss section and not mention Trobio. The presentation, the stage, the showmanship.
He was the Nightmare King Grim of our time.
Exactly.
It's just
exactly.
He was perfect. Except for the fact that I was blinded half the time. Like
that's a valid actual slight thing to complain about too, but I think everything else makes up for it. But it is a little hard to see sometimes. Yeah,
throw up the clip of the My Eyes from the SpongeBob movie. Just but I mean literally everything about it just ramped it up, because I thought the first the regular Trobio fight was really good. I very much enjoyed it. Again, a little bit more simple, but everything about it was just what I love in a boss fight. Like there's moves where you literally just have to get out of the way and you have to find the one window of opportunity to smack down and get some damage in. The projectiles that were thrown never felt unfair. Like if I got hit, it's because I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and literally just everything was so much better on the second fight.
Yeah, and Tormented took me a while, but again, that's how I love a boss fight design. Like whenever I keep getting defeated, and like when you don't have the frustration to it. Again, like the difference between Tormented Trobio and like Savage Beastfly is night and day. Like you're dying about probably the same amount of times to both, but one is so irritating and the other one, like, you're just having a blast regardless.
There wasn't a time where he was rising up from the stage and jumping up and shouting, "Throw you!" that I wasn't like...
And same thing, they didn't have to, but there's two different soundtracks for the original Trobio and the Tormented, and Tormented is excellent.
Literally, you mentioned that to me, and because I was like, I can't even remember the first Trobio soundtrack. And I went back and listened to the song, and I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. And then I went back to fighting Tormented, and I was like, oh, no, this is godly.
Yeah, exactly.
It was so good.
I was like, there's no world in which I don't mention Trobio on here, because there's a lot of... We might touch on some other bosses while we get into some of these things too, but I was like, we have to... Overruled Trobio section for sure. So
love Trobio.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and jump into what has been a very, very deep conversation, at least around this game, and that is the difficulty. We're going to have a lot of different subsections of the overall difficulty. Is this too difficult? Is this more difficult than the original Hollow Knight? We've got a couple different questions and stuff. So Jordan, let's go ahead and I'll let you talk about at least the first section in this difficulty portion.
I want to go over 2 mass damage.
Yeah.
Overall thoughts. Yeah. Like, was this necessary? Should this be coming from regular enemies, or should it just be limited to bosses?
Right.
How does this affect your heal? Like, the just overall discussion on what you think about the 2 masks. Was this a good call?
Because it's a big change. I mean, it's jarring for a lot of people. And like I said, all I saw for at least the first couple of days, I mean, like, obviously people are having a good time, but everybody's like, dude, everything is doing 2 masks of damage. Like, not obviously everything, but like a lot of things. And it's a valid thing to discuss. And I think I'm pretty set on my difficulty opinions on this as well too. So what do you think? Do you think what is your thoughts on the 2 mass damage?
So I have a few things that I just want to mention in regards to it. A lot of people were saying like, this is totally fair because you get to heal for 3 masks.
Right.
You're not stationary like in Hollow Knight. In Hollow Knight, you had to stand on the ground, you had to sit there, and you only got to do 1 mask at a time. And in Silksong, you can literally jump up, you can run along the wall, jump as high up as you can in the air and heal, and then you get 3 masks of damage. Yep. There's differences though. Mm-hmm. In Hollow Knight, you only had to use a portion of your soul in order to heal 1 mask.
Yes.
You have to use all of your silk in order to heal all 3. And if you get hit in the middle of that, you just lose it.
Yeah.
You just lose all of your silk.
Definitely.
And while other people were saying, oh, well, you heal for 3, but you only take 2, you're really like coming out it's a net positive there.
Right.
I 100% disagree, because in almost every single fight where I was struggling, I wasn't just getting hit once. I was getting hit, and then I was getting hit into another attack. So I would lose 4 health all at once.
Yeah.
And then I can only heal back 3/4 of the health that I lost, and it costs all the silk that I have in order to do that. Was this a bad design? No. I actually really enjoyed the change up.
Yeah.
Overall, I feel like it was a necessary step if you wanted to make this game harder than Hollow Knight.
Sure.
Which we'll get a little bit more into, should they have raised the difficulty? Is this even more difficult than Hollow Knight?
Sure.
But I feel like it was for all the changes they made, it felt balanced. It didn't feel at any point unfair.
I think so too. Let's go ahead and jump into the main question. Is Hollow Knight Silksong too difficult? That's what I want to. Is it too difficult? All right, 3, 2, 1.
I had a feeling.
Nah,
exactly. Is the game hard? Absolutely.
For sure.
Is
it more difficult than the original Hollow Knight? We don't even have to write on the thing. Yeah. Yes, it is more difficult than the original Hollow Knight. Absolutely. But is it? There's some people that were like, this is too difficult. Get better. I'm not sure, like.
Slight tangent. People will say that there are portions of Hollow Knight that are more difficult than the entirety of Silksong. And while I can agree with that, any of those sections from Hollow Knight that were more difficult, you can argue with me if you want, it came from DLC. It came from later down the line.
Yes,
if we're comparing base game to base game,
for sure.
Silksong is harder, and I guarantee you, when we get the inevitable DLC for Silksong, it's going to be harder than anything that we had to face.
Definitely.
Nightmare King Grim, Absolute Radiance, it's good. They're going to look like walks in the park.
Definitely. But yeah, I'm in everything you just echoed. Like, again, this may just be coming from a guy who's played a lot of Hollow Knight. Like, there was very, very few times that I just like thought that was like, this is unfair, because again, specifically, I liked the healing changes. I liked that it was different. Again, that you can, do you know how many times like I got up into the top right corner and healed, just because you can heal mid-air, you can run, use that momentum and heal during that as well too. My personal take, I think the window of opportunity for healing in Silksong is far greater than the Hollow Knight one, because you have to be stationary. I think the complaints about it using all of the silk instead of just like a section of it, that you can't just use that, I think that's perfectly valid. I didn't struggle with it that bad, but I think it's a completely valid, it's a change, and it's okay to critique that. I just didn't find it to be that frustrating. But that is my like final take on it. Like, it's not too difficult. I am perfectly okay with bosses doing 2 masks of damage. Agreed. We're at the point, I'm very sorry if you wanted to get on the hype train. You should have played the first game before you should play Silksong.
Absolutely.
That is close to a requirement. I think you will find a lot more frustration if you jump straight into this, and I think Team Cherry went with that idea. Now, do I think some contact damage doesn't need to do 2 masks? 100%. That was like, really, like, come on. But I think most bosses doing 2 masks, I never thought that was a problem.
Yeah, I mean, again, like you said, attacks doing 2 masks of damage, at this point, that's the big boy enemy.
Yeah.
If you want to move on in the game,
Yeah.
you gotta understand these things are going to do some serious damage.
Definitely.
There were times where I knocked certain enemies, and getting close to them to attack them, I would touch them and take 2 damage.
Yeah.
I think that was just a little much. Because, I mean, again, I've got him stunned.
Yeah.
Clearly, I was good enough to get him down.
Yeah.
Forgive me for getting a little excited and getting a little too close while I'm smacking him with my needle.
Yeah.
But 100% agree. Like, even some of the enemies, like the regular enemies, some of the bigger ones, like they had the fat skull boys in the very beginning.
Exactly.
Like doing 2 masks of damage. At this point, it's fine.
Yeah. 100% agree. I think it's just jarring because this is new Hollow Knight. We've had the original for so long now. This is new areas, new bosses. The first time Deep Nest dropped, and nobody had ever had that or any of the other frustrating areas in the original Hollow Knight. I'm sure at the time everyone was irritated for different reasons. So I think it's perfectly fair because you are given far more tools and there's a lot more variety in which you can go about combat scenarios and things, especially in the later game to overcome some of these difficulties. Same thing, we'll get into the tools and extra combat portions a little later, but you have a lot more at your disposal here than you do in the original Hollow Knight. And I think Team Cherry knew that.
Yeah, which is why they increased the difficulty, which
Right.
leads me into the next thing that I want to talk about.
Yes.
There is circulation of talks online from multiple people saying that Team Cherry intentionally made portions of this game bad.
Right.
Like, not just difficult, not just
Right.
frustrating. They said it was an intentional
Did a poor job.
bad design.
Sure.
And that it was done on purpose. Do you think that Team Cherry purposely made bad sections of this game? And we'll get into a little bit more of the details on what we mean by bad sections.
I'll have you
of the
explain
game.
a couple of those,
Yeah.
but I think I know what you're saying.
Right. 3, 2, 1. Okay, yeah. There were some people online who were straight up saying, and there's multiple reasons for this. I heard it echoed across at least 3 different people's conversations around Silksong that
hit me with
Team
it.
Cherry purposely designed areas like Biowater
Yeah.
and the specific runbacks like the Last Judge
Sure.
to be purposely frustrating and bad.
Right.
Either one, to somehow rally players around the thought of like, oh, well, we all struggled through this, and so we did it. They were using it as a scapegoat for the rest of the game. Like, oh, the rest of the game is perfect except for this one area.
Right.
Super weird line of thinking.
Right.
And then other people were like, oh, well, it's really bad, and it was purposely designed to be bad so that when you overcame it, you felt this sense of relief, or you just felt this sense of accomplishment. And I just feel like that is the stupidest thing
Definitely.
that you could, like, it was just harder.
Yeah.
And there were certain situations in each biome that required you to take different strategies to either navigate across it, to beat certain bosses. There was no point which Team Cherry sat down, the 3 of them were looking at each other like cartoon villains, like, so what's the worst thing we can do to make these people as mad as possible? Like, that's just,
the bench that's a trap bench or anything like that. Like, exactly.
That was evil.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, that was.
yeah.
I literally had 2 masks
Team
left.
Cherry's
by
like,
the
we're
time I
having
got to the
so
end."
much fun. What if there was your 1 point of rest here, and if they have 1 heal left, gone. So yeah,
goodness.
But yeah. No, I completely agree with that. I think definitely agree on that. So let's jump into something again that we kind of discussed in passing a little bit as well. Like, so there's always been some discussion on, is Hollow Knight, the original game, a Souls-like or not? I have always been under the impression it has Souls-like elements, but I never once considered it a Souls-like. But when I was playing this, I was like, Jordan, there's a lot more Souls-like elements in here. So would you consider Silksong a Souls-like? And do you like that direct? Well, we can dip into like, do you like the direction of that for sure too? But like, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hesitate to like 100% full sense that like, oh yeah, absolutely, it's a Souls-like.
Sure.
Just because, I mean, we've seen other Souls-likes recently in the past. We've got Liza P.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that Steel
Rising?
Steel
Yeah,
Rising.
that was another one there.
So we have things like Liza P. We have things like Steel Rising. We have things like Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. And I mean, there's an obvious formula there. And when you asked me this question, because I was in the middle of playing, I was like knee deep into Act 2, and you were like, is this a Souls-like? I said, no, this isn't a Souls-like. It's like Hollow Knight wasn't a Souls-like. This isn't a Souls-like. And I was like, well, I mean, you got to rest at your areas. You kind of lose all of your stuff, and you have to go back and grab your beads and your shards, and you got to equip tools, and there's a poison swamp. And is this a Souls-like?
Yeah. So like, I think they really dipped into it on this one, and the main reason for that is Hollow Knight. Everybody is, I think, going to play that in a very, very similar fashion to some degree. Silksong allows a lot of player expression and for a lot of people to have builds, if you will, based on the Crest system here. Each of them changing your movesets, your dash attack, your literal pogo. So it's like, and then mixing that with your tools, the different crests have different abilities that you can equip. I think, to me, that is where, like, obviously the biggest thing that it does not have, to definitively say it, is there's no stamina management, obviously. But, I mean, the difficult bosses, you lose your silk upon death, and then you have to go get them.
You literally have, like, a magic bar where you have to, like, it is a finite resource. If it runs out, you have to use something to get more, do some damage, do something.
Definitely. But that was, like, my definitive, because we didn't know about the Crest systems upon release. Like, that was a completely new thing, because, again, everybody was, like, angry at first on the directional pogo, and then you get your first additional Crest, and you're like, oh, shoot. But, like, I feel there is going to be a ton of different people that play this so many different ways. I mean, some people, like, you use the poisoned cog flies.
Yep.
I never once used that in my entire playthrough, but, like, you can really have a lot of different builds and stuff based on those. And I genuinely, especially for the sequel, I like the direction a lot that they went with it. I think there is somebody mentioned earlier, like on our, I think on another video that I was doing, they're like, I noticed you played a lot with the Reaper's Crest, but they were like, I feel that a lot of different situations here require you, or you should be changing these. And I was like, I think that's a fair, I didn't. Like, I stuck to the Reaper's Crest, but like, it gives you, that's what we mentioned earlier, whereas like, I don't think it's too difficult, because Team Cherry, especially mid to late game, you have so many tools. This is the issue with like the Elden Ring thing, where people are like, oh, like, I don't use the tools at my disposal, ergo it's too hard, but I won't use the tools that they gifted me in the game. No, you have tools, use them. Like, that is the reason they gifted you so many different tools. There's like 57 in the game. The tax, the Hornet's original things that shoots out the spikes. Like, there are so many of those in many different ways. So it's like, this isn't really a game where it's like, oh, you need to leave and come back when you're stronger. It's like, maybe change the strategy, you know? So I feel like, and I like that aspect. Yeah.
I only slightly disagree with the change the strategy to come back.
Sure.
Because, again, going into saying this is a Souls-like, with any Souls-like, I had to learn this the hard way.
Yeah.
You kind of build your path.
Yeah, you do.
And it's different in the Souls-like, because you have to level up different aspects, like your vigor, your vitality, like your strength and whatnot. But I played it the same way through. I was like, I need to get good with this moveset here.
Yeah.
I need to build the tools that I need in order to accomplish this fight. And I will not change, or I will fail. Personal opinion.
Sure.
Play the game however you want.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Like, the next time that I go back and I play through, I plan on using a different crest than I did the first time, because I want to experience the variety of ways that Team Cherry's allowed us to play this game.
Yeah, definitely. But we tested all of them, just not vigorously. Like, we had a specific crest that we liked. There's one last thing I wanted to mention about the difficulty as well, too, that it kind of dips into that as well. How did we feel about the finance system in Silksong? I feel that So I don't even know. We didn't even have this written on here. And I was like, I'm just thinking about this because there's a lot of people who critique the fact that you have to, things are effing expensive in Silksong. Expensive. And you do not get a lot of resources or rosaries here. And you are a result. I just go ahead and say it. I think that could have been done better for sure, because no bosses don't drop rosaries.
I wanted to talk about that. I'm so glad, because there were literally bosses that would drop tons of Geo if you beat them in Hollow Knight.
They explode poof Geo.
So the only thing that I can think is an excuse is the true final boss of this game is capitalism. Because, and I got grilled about this online when I shared my opinion, the fact that certain enemies give way more beads than others, and in certain areas of the Citadel, you have to pay constantly to use benches or to earn silk. And they were like, oh, well, that's Team Cherry's like way of world building. In this area, it shows that all the people are being worked like dogs and they get paid nothing.
Which they were.
It does, yeah.
Because there's that one guy in the Underworks who, did you find him?
Who kind of
he looks like Nos.
He was constantly running.
Exactly. Which again, you're not wrong, but does that make for frustrating gameplay?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like there's a bench in Act 1 before you get to the Citadel where you have to pay to get in every single time. There's a gear that you can break to prevent you from having to pay that again. If you want to add places where you got to constantly pay to add benches, I'm cool with that. That's great world building. I agree. Like, that's fantastic of Team Cherry to do that. Give me a way to turn it off. Like in game, give me like another set of gears. Like there was a hidden room that literally just had like a beast shard up at the top. Give me some gears that I can break. And then if you really just want to say like, oh, well, that's not going to fit into the world building. If I break the gear, send in 2 of those little spider guys that steal my silk to like punish me for breaking what is the Citadel's property. Yeah. And then if I beat them, I don't have to pay anymore. Like it just makes sense to me to add a little bit of something to mitigate some of that, because at the end of the day, Hornet's not part of the Citadel. She's here to fight against the Citadel. Why is she having to deal with poor people problems?
We've got to pay for the freaking stations, for the fast shop. We've got to pay for the freaking benches. We've got to pay to get in areas so I can buy more things. And the things are 800 rosaries. Like,
and this is on top of the stuff you've already got to pay for, like you did in the Hollow Knight. The map, the compass, the markers, the everything. Yeah. Like, there was not a single thing that was like, there was no gimmies.
Yeah, no.
And in a game as hard as this, I would have liked a gimme every now and then.
Because especially, I'm doing my 100% under 30 hours right now. I am hard locked before I go to Act 3 because I need 8,000 rosaries right now to get the rest of the there was a lot of tools locked behind a paywall, like you're buying from vendors, like literally, like I'd say probably close to 10, and like 5 of them are 800 rosaries a piece.
It's not even a joke. Like, at least in Hollow Knight, when you first started, there were times where you had to buy supplies, and they were kind of expensive. They'd be like 150 to 500. Like, if you want to buy this mask shard, it's a 500. Like, that's a lot. It's a lot to ask for a big thing. And that totally makes sense. As you continue to progress through the game and you paid for those things, it costs a little bit more. Yeah. This, just right out the gate, it was like 900 rosaries, please, for this one item that you may or may not use, but you're going to need it for the 100%.
Completely agree, yes. But the one thing I will give them props for, that I didn't use it, but I'll give you props for it. I liked that you could chain the beads together. That was
I used that.
Yeah, that was like a nice, like, and people were like, oh, like it costs money. I'm like, yes, that's the idea. Like that's the balancing of the difficulty. It's like you give up 20 rosaries, but you have a guaranteed 80 now. You know what I mean? So it's like, do you do that or do you risk losing all of them? So there was a way to mitigate and hold those rosaries. Loved that. Did you give me more rosaries, please?
Did you even lose rosaries? I thought that because
no, exactly. When you have them, they're beaded. You don't drop them when you die. So.
No, what I'm saying is, I have to double check because I thought
you lose.
I was getting 100. Like, I paid 140.
Yep.
And I got 140 when I broke them. Was it 120?
No, 120.
Okay, regardless.
Same thing, or like some cost 80 and then you get 6, something like that. Yeah, but it does cost money.
I did abuse that system at the end. When I was fighting Lost Lace, I really needed beast shards. So I did like an hour of grinding, got several thousand rosaries. Yeah. And again, this is late game. And it took me an hour to get 2,000.
Yeah.
And I blame Second Sentinel for that, for constantly killing the enemies that gave me all the big boy money.
Yeah, I know.
And I had maxed out on beast shards, and I beat everything else. Because I was like, if I'm going to go fight Lost Lace, I'm not running all the way back down to the abyss to try to get my stuff back, to run back up. That's just way too much.
Definitely.
But just a few, like, it doesn't even have to be a lot. Yeah. Just a little bit more.
Genuinely, like, just last statement is, like, baffling. Bosses dropped 0 rosaries. None. No boss ever dropped rosaries. So, like, really wish that was changed in here for sure. I think that could have helped. If we're fighting bosses that deal 2 masks of damage, like, let's up the reward, please.
Any reward. Yeah. Like, let's be honest. You hardly got
0.
anything from a lot of these bosses.
Like, congratulations, here's Bile Water next.
Even with Trobio, they gave you a mirror. It's like, congrats. When you heal, this might do a little bit
or something, like, I don't know, you know. So exactly.
That's the only boss that I can think that gave me a little something. Oh, I guess Phantom as well gave you the pair. There were a few bosses that gave you like different abilities that you could use.
Yeah.
But again, you didn't get them across the board. You had to pick and choose which ones you wanted to use.
So I want us to do like we did the original one. Let's just at least give a quick rating for the combat and the movement section. I want it out of 10. Because I've got a couple thoughts on these two. Let's start with the movement. I want a movement rating out of 10.
3, 2, 1. Fantastic. Yeah. I've desperately been wanting to go back and take care of the Pantheons and Hollow Knight, and the only thing that's holding me back is I'm not going to be moving like Hornet. So it's going to feel like such a nerf going back to Hollow Knight.
I think I gave the original a 7 because of a couple of different caveats, but I was like, oh, like you're right. I kind of came around, but now especially looking back, I'm like, I think I'm maybe the original's close to like 7 to close to an 8 or whatever, but like this is perfect for me. Like, and that is a lot. Something as simple as the dash and the jumping during the dash. When I went and replayed a different game after Silksong, I was mind blown how slow I was moving, and I was like, "This sucks, dong." I want to go back and play Silksong. Like, just completely. This is perfect. This is the Hollow Knight formula. Perfected. People whined about the directional pogo. They give you 2 different crests that allow you to do the regular pogo. There's no excuse for you, whining about you being freaking poor at this or whatever.
I liked it. There was only one pogo I didn't like. Yeah. Beast Crest. I'm calling you out. Yes. That was like if you use the Beast Crest for any sort of traversal or platforming, either I can't stand you as a person, or I have to take my hat off to you because I don't know how you manage to do that.
Exactly. Just like I said, we don't have to go too crazy into it, but just like they perfected already a really good formula in the original Hollow Knight, and just God, the addition of that dash is huge. It sucks not having the phase through of the original Hollow Knight, but again, everything is a give and take. They've given you a lot more tools too. You probably would have been stupid overpowered having that as well. Yeah,
that would have been crazy.
But Hornet's dodge allows you to like roll basically. It's not a straight dodge, and I loved using that on some things too. So I
remember I was a little bit ahead of you guys because I was off work the day that Silksong dropped, and I was already utilizing the sprint. You and Adam both got the sprint, and I was like, boys, you can hold it and run, and when you jump, you like launch yourself, and the both of you at the same time are like, ooh!
Yeah, it is awesome. The movement, phenomenal.
Good.
So, same thing. Let's hit me with a overall combat rating.
Now, I think we had some pretty high ratings for the combat from the original Hollow Knight.
We did.
So I don't know if this is going to like affect how I think about this game more than it's going to affect how I feel about the original combat. Just let it rip.
3, 2, 1. What are we hitting?
Yeah, it's literally Hollow Knight, but better.
You're correct. It's like this is making me retroactively going back and like thinking of the original. I'm like, oh shoot, did I actually go? Like, I didn't know how else to improve upon it. And like I said, I like the additional tools, the additional things for combat. There's so much more variety here, and it's great. It's like combat is as good as you can make it here. The flow state in Silksong put me on a high even greater than some of my favorite bosses in the original Hollow Knight too. Just the overall again, in my opinion, combat and movement really just go hand in hand on this one too. One has to help with the other, and I think the movement enhanced the combat for me this section. I think that's why I think they're so perfect.
Things like the Silk Spear was used both for movement and for damage. Like because it does like some serious damage if you manage to land on a boss. Like there were times in my Lost Lace fight where I keep going back to Lost Lace. I apologize. I spent like 6 hours on it.
I feel that.
But there were times where I would do a midair dodge, and then to get out of the way of her next attack, I would just straight up attack her and flip over. Yeah. And it's just like the Crest system was so good for that because it literally gave you so many different options on how you wanted to tackle the boss. As much crap as I give the Beast Crest, like if it is a boss melter if you know how to build that. And so that's where I want to move next. Is
Yes.
just talking more about the Crest system in and of itself.
Hit me with it.
So first of all, what's your favorite Crest? I want to know, what was the Crest you most used? What was the Crest that you prefer the moveset of?
Definitely.
Like, well, let's both talk about what was the Crest in the game.
What was the Crest? We're gonna have the same answers for like everything. dude.
and I
That's
know
crazy.
we are. 3, 2, 1. It was the Reaper. There was nothing else but the Reaper.
No.
I liked quite a few of the other crests. Like
Me too.
The Wanderer crest was a lot of fun. The Witch crest, the Witch crest I want to use on my next playthrough when
Me
I'm going
too.
through my
Me too.
that'll probably be my 30-hour complete run.
Its down pogo is great, and I love how every attack has when you sprint and do an attack, it's a different attack too. So again, you have a different pogo, you have a different regular attack. Your healing always does something different too. Everything about your combat movement changes per those, and like I loved the witches on that too. But the Reaper with the addition of, basically it comes down to the extra silk being given. That was huge for heals. And God, that we've talked about it already, but my sprint, and when you do your sprint attack, you do this uppercut, and I could perfectly uppercut down into a pogo, and it was just like, that was the bread and butter for my combat system here. So I'm not necessarily saying like, it is the best. We just happened to use Reaper's Crest, get really good with it, and we stuck with it too. But like a lot of really good crests. I saw people melting some guys, even with is it the Architect one?
Oh yeah, because they would literally just sit there and they'd be spamming tools.
Yeah,
and like or they would abuse the drill function of that.
Yeah. And then there's the last one as well too.
The Shaman?
Yeah, and you get to have 2 different abilities equipped as well too. So again, just lots of variety.
Yeah, there's no best crest, because again, it's the same way as like trying to figure out how you want to play in a Souls game. Do you want to do a strength build? Do you want to do a mage build? Do you want to there's just too many different ways that you can go about playing this game and tackling bosses. But you already said it, like the Reaper crest. I tried changing crests in the middle of Act 3, and I went to dash and jump up and slam down on an enemy, and I just kind of went straight forward.
Kudos to you if you can switch back and forth, but like I'm just like, when you're doing a run, get with one and perfect it. That's that's how I felt, and that was what I did, was Reaper.
Yeah. I also want to talk about the silk abilities, because there's 6 different silk abilities that you get.
Yes.
What was your favorite silk ability?
Ooh.
There were some that were good, and there were some that were less than optimal.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
I cheated. I cheated because I literally had 2 that I used like probably equally.
Dang.
And it was Pale Nails, which was just good passive damage because I could throw it up and then get close to the boss. It was terrible to use in confrontations with a bunch of enemies. Like when they had the mobs of enemies swarming you, because there would be one that I'm trying to target and they would completely go to the opposite side.
Definitely.
But it was either I was using Pale Nails or I was using Cross Stitch, because the parry is just too good.
Yeah.
Like it sucks that you have to utilize some of your healing for that.
It does.
But again,
that's
like
the risk reward.
when you partner it with Reaper Crest, I mean, you can literally heal, get that extra silk back, and then get your silk ability in at the same time.
And it looks so cool. And I'm such a parry boy. Like I'm a Sekiro dude. Like I'm a dude. When you get the parry ability from freaking Fanta, man, I was like, oh my god, that they do that little thing. It's like press R1 to parry. I'm like, oh, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Jacob, I wanted to talk about the tool system versus the original charm system from Hollow Knight.
Of course.
Because both are things that you have limited slots to equip.
Yeah.
They completely change your gameplay.
Definitely.
Which one did you prefer? Did you prefer the original Hollow Knight charm system, or did you prefer the tools that they added in Silksong?
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Okay, interesting.
We're different on this
Interesting,
one.
yeah.
I feel like it's one of those things, it could grow on me over time, obviously. I've played Hollow Knight throughout a lot. This isn't any like dunk on Silksong's tool systems. It's different. I just felt there was a lot of the original charms. I felt there was just a couple of cooler ones. I like
both work for the games that they're set in.
Definitely.
I prefer the tool system slightly, just because there's already a build system in the game. So like with Hollow Knight, if you wanted to make a different build, it was entirely set in the charms.
It is.
You had to set up your charms to give yourself a build. So having the tools as a separate, like honestly, we should just lump the tools and the Crest systems together if we're wanting to do a one-to-one comparison. But I like the tools because there's different kinds. There's the red tools, blue tools, yellow tools. There is different ones that you can, like different crests have a different amount that you can equip for each.
Right.
So again, like it just really added to that variety of what you wanted to do. And I just felt that in the long run, certain tools were more helpful for me than it was in Hollow Knight. With the increased difficulty, I just felt that it was absolutely necessary to move
because I melted some again. Like if we were talking about like our favorite tools, like the tacks are absolutely like if you're stuck on a boss and you can't beat a boss, you're not using tacks, and if you're still not winning, you're not using enough tacks. Like that's my strategy for the game. Like if it flies, you're screwed. Like whatever. Like
no, Jacob, they got tacks for the air.
That's right.
Hornet's original ability is just tacks for the air.
That is my build. Everything on the Reaper Crest. You got 2 red abilities. It's tacks and air tacks. Like, that's it. So, honestly, it's probably my fault because I've played with the charm system more than I've played with the tools from there, too. But again, I do appreciate because, yeah, you're right. You can't really talk about the tools without the crests because each of them have different, like 2 blues or 1 yellow, or so it's like they mix and match like that. So I do appreciate that. But I've just played around with the charm system a lot more. But I like both where they are.
That's totally fair. On an initial playthrough of both, just because I've played both for the first time within the last 2 months, like if I had to pick one, I just err more on the side of Silksong.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. So let's also, Jordan, we're next going to be talking about our biomes. There are our favorites, our least favorites. So let's go ahead and discuss our favorite biome in here, because the original Hollow Knight has a lot of really iconic locations here. So it's like there was a lot of hype for Silksongs, if there was going to be anything like City of Tears wise or anything. So it's like, what's our favorite biome here? So
3, 2, 1. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, those were like definitely. I was leaning towards some like Bellheart was just a little small for me to want to add it, but to lump that in with Shellwood since they are connected.
And I almost put a third of because I really wanted to add Greymore too. I like Greymore a lot. I think there's a lot to do there. Yeah. But Bellheart isn't just obviously the area in and of itself isn't anything to write home about, but like I feel like those areas feel like a connected space. So it's like, and again, that is the Citadel is the City of Tears right answer. Like the Coral Chambers is like that is the City of Tears moment, because like the soundtrack is godly in that one. And then you've got like because again, like the Citadel has like the Cogwork core, like you step into there and it just has that amazing soundtrack, and that's like everything's moving to peace. So like the Citadel it has its own freaking fast travel system too. So like I said, you could break up the Citadel and have a favorite section in the Citadel. Like mine is probably just the Coral Chambers, just the enemy variety, the soundtrack. So like I love that. But same thing, Bellheart. I told you, like when I sat down and I listened to that soundtrack, I was like, oh my god! And I sat there for like minutes. So yeah, the great portions.
All right, well, we've talked about our favorite. Let's get into least favorite.
Definitely. And I've got a thought.
I do too. 3, 2, 1. Oh, wow. I thought we were going to be different.
I did not.
I totally thought that we were going to have a different thought process there. I totally thought you were going to go with Bilewater.
No.
Or Sinner's Road.
Yeah, Sinner's Road. Literally, Sinner's Road, Bilewater, and
Putrefied Ducks are all just
frustrating for different reasons, but like I think I have the hot take where it's like I don't think Bilewater is as awful. Okay, so
I'll go as far as say I don't think it's awful at all. I really like Bilewater. The music is fantastic.
Music's great.
The whole thing is just that's the platforming section.
Yeah.
And they make it a little bit more beans by adding the little grubs that eat up all of your silk and your health, and you have to like heal yourself.
Definitely.
Which can be frustrating. The enemies in that area can be a little aggravating just because everything explodes.
It's just the one guy, the
frog.
He's just very fast and sporadic. I found that, but my counter to that was just being very proactive in attacking. Like you can't be passive. Like you take him out.
Bilewater wants to kill you. You better be willing to kill Bilewater.
Yeah,
it's just.
But the Ducks has the worst parts of Biowater because it still has the muck
Yep.
that you're in Biowater that you have to waste a heal for.
Mm-hmm.
But those stupid green guys who like you would go to pogo them and they'll quickly
brother,
move.
They got Ultra Instinct. They've
got the Ultra Instinct. I can't pogo them. They got the big fat boys, the stupid, and then I jump from the fat boys. Those freaking guys ring me up and grab me, and I was like, I found the overall enemies in those areas the most frustrating. So I think that is why it landed at the top for me, is the enemies drove me insane.
It felt like, to me, because Sinner's Road and Biowater both had like difficult platforming sections where you kind of had to, like, they were trying to get you to do something there.
Yeah.
Like, if you wanted to progress, you had to either change your crest or better utilize your crest for the movement ability. Like, it felt like I was being challenged there. Putrefied Ducks just had the frustrating parts of Biowater.
Yes.
While giving me nothing else. It was a nothing burger.
It was a nothing burger.
Like, there was nothing to do in that area except go find the fleet to home.
Exactly.
And then find whatever the little goober is that wants you to hunt for its babies.
Yeah.
And other than that, you're just kind of running around praying you find the apostate key.
Anytime I had to go back there, I like groaned. I was like, I don't want to deal with this. And Sinner's Road would just take the cake because of the freaking cockroaches that are there. I hated those guys so bad. Like,
they had ups, brother. They'd snatch me out of the air.
Exactly. And so, like, yeah, definitely. But I think I'm very I'm very surprised. I thought I was going to be, like, lonesome on that one, too. But, like, after, like, my 5th revisit to the place in my last playthrough, I was like, I think I hate this area.
It's just not.
I think I hate it.
If there's anywhere that I was not having fun, like at least Biowater, I was moving. Like I was having a good time, like bouncing off enemies to scale the mountain or whatever. Even like Groll. Like, quick tangent. Let's talk about Groll.
Yeah.
Because I cheated.
When
I fought Groll, I gave it a few I gave it a good college try. I wasn't just like, let me cheese this boss as much as I can. Like I spent a good amount of time. I found the secret bench, getting all the way back up there, fighting the ads that he had. Like, he's got his little gauntlet before you actually have to fight him.
Which I didn't find frustrating.
No, like after 2 or 3 tries, I was like, okay, if I stick on the left side, the guys will spawn under me. I just pogo off them and then it's over. Groll as a fight wasn't as frustrating. Even like just doing it normally. Yeah. Like, I thought he had a decent moveset. I don't think he's a bad boss. A lot of people say, like, he's the worst boss. And
the arena makes it frustrating. Again, because you're in the muck. So when you need to heal, if you screw up and land in that, I found frustrating. So,
but I will say, they give you the tools to take care of business. I want to give you my footage because you can time it from the time that Groll jumps out of the muck to the time where he is collapsed and dying. It is 30 seconds.
Really?
It took me 30 seconds to dispatch of Groll.
Dang.
I felt like a speedrunner. You can count to, I only hit him one time with my needle. I used tools for everything else.
That was when I beat him the first time. It took me 2 tries to beat him my first try. And same thing, I was just chucking those. I think it was the long nails or something like that. I was just freaking chucking those at him.
I had my polyp pouch on. I had my cog flies doing damage, and I had my curve claws that I was just. Yeah. I wasn't letting him breathe. Yeah. Groll gets too much hate.
I definitely agree. So again, I feel like most people's answer would be Biowater, and their main area of frustration is the run back. But again, there is a secret bench there too that alleviates that frustration. That's not even like that super secret, in my opinion. I think a lot of people just missed it because it was so new. So
exactly, and even like you don't lose as much silk because they got those little like flower guys that you can run in and respawn, and you can get your silk back all the way.
I really think it's overhated for sure. The Biowater, 100%.
Agreed. How do you feel about Silksong soundtrack in comparison to the original game?
I don't even know if it's a hot take. I think it might be better.
Mm-hmm. I 100% agree with you, and I've heard people say the opposite. That's exactly why I want to dip into it. Let's get it out the way. Christopher Larkin, fantastic. Yeah. For the first game, he did the best that he could with what was it? Just like electronic components. They didn't have the money for a band. They didn't have money for a choir. They didn't have money for anything except for him to use the tools he had on hand to make what is a killer soundtrack. Like the Hollow Knight soundtrack is a bop.
Yeah.
There's no problems with it. I don't think there's a bad song in there. But there are sections when playing through the original Hollow Knight where there was no music.
Right.
Or there was very limited music.
Very limited.
Everywhere you went in Silksong had a song, had a theme. They had the money for a straight up choir this time. They had people singing.
Yeah.
They had real instruments. The strings went crazy.
Yeah.
And again, I just think that overall the music was better and more memorable. There's not a time where I put the Hollow Knight soundtrack on in my car, but I straight up throw on Spotify the Silksong soundtrack on my hour drive to work.
And I have a lot saved like from there too. Like again, like the Phantoms, the Last Judges, I love the Choral Chambers. I think is awesome. The Widow is great. There's just a lot of Biowater is great too. There's a lot of variety, and I felt like there was some even like the Last Judge. Like going back to that. There is no fight in the original Hollow Knight game that's got a soundtrack that's like that. That's just freaking incredible. Very much like that. So I think we're both in agreement that I actually, it may be the craziest hot take, that I like the sequel soundtrack better than the original. And I think both serve their purpose. But let's go over at least our favorite soundtrack, because I do have a couple thoughts on that. 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Tormented Trophy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I also wanted to put Songclave.
Oh
just just the rising beautiful melody of voices. Yeah. Just to, like anytime I was there, I was like, this is great, and I felt very much the same way about Bellheart too.
Yeah. See, I feel there's like two different answers as far as like a best like boss track, you know what I mean, versus like this is obviously just like my favorite like music very close to Choral Chambers, man, because Choral Chambers is so good. But like Bellheart just hit me like a freight train the first time I heard it, and I was like, I'm listening to this on repeat for an hour every day for the next year. Like, love that track. So yeah, just tons of memorable tracks in this one too. I think anybody saying that this was a disappointing soundtrack, right? Because I saw that echoed a ton. I think that is straight bogus. Like straight bogus. Like that's, I don't want to be like, oh, like that's nostalgia talking, because again, like I'm somebody who loves the original Hollow Knight too, but like Christopher Larkin does just fantastic work on this one. So
time for the big question, Jacob.
The big boy, even though we've been here like an hour and 20 already, and it feels like, I feel like I've scratched like nothing. I feel like I've scratched nothing. I feel like there's a billion more things I could scratch on this.
I could sit here all night and talk about Silksong. I have done that. My poor wife hates me. She doesn't want me to talk about this game anymore. She's so happy I beat it. Is this game better than Hollow Knight? It's not like we can't chicken out, Jacob. We can't chicken out. We got to pick a yes or no. We can't pick it.
I can't do. I was gonna put. I don't know.
No, we can't chicken out, Jacob. We have to make a choice.
Okay.
Ooh,
okay.
That's not
actually,
English.
Actually, all right.
Okay.
I have reasonings too.
Okay. I feel like whatever you have to say, absolutely valid.
Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Dang. So here is my main, and you may have the same idea, because like when I'm thinking about it, this I don't know if this is fair or if this is just like cope or a caveat, because it's also tough. The original Hollow Knight, we have 4 DLCs that have been added. I feel if we take the base Hollow Knight, let's just make somewhat of an even comparison. And
agreed.
It's kind of unfair because yes, they had more budget, more resources, but like at the end of the day, base Hollow Knight, base Silksong, I think it is because a lot of my favorite bosses from the original Hollow Knight are DLC added, just like the Nightmare King Grim, just like the Pure Vessel. Pure Vessel, like all of those, a lot of that stemmed from that as well too. So I think if we're taking base game to game, I do think so. I do think so.
I 100% agree. And again, like this is somebody with no like overwhelming nostalgia for Hollow Knight. When I played Hollow Knight, I think I said it last time, it quickly shot up to be one of my favorite games of all time. Like just as an experience, there was nothing better.
Yeah.
I can't sit here and think about anything in Silksong that I liked less. Like when I played Hollow Knight, I was like, oh man, I really want to go back and play Hollow Knight. When I was playing Silksong, I would go to sleep and I would dream about Silksong. And I would wake up and be like, all right, I have 34 minutes before work. If I skip shower, get dressed in 5 minutes. I can play an extra 27 minutes of Silksong.
There are very few games out there that have me in this level of like chokehold for sure. Like I'm sleeping and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, okay, where's my next route? Where am I going to? What's the next things that I'm going to grab? I've already done a speed run under 5 hours because I'm going for the platinum trophy, and I'm on my 3rd playthrough now, and I'm 15 hours into it as well. I almost have 100 hours on this game according to my PlayStation, which is insane. And it's for no other reason than just like I love so many things about it. Like so many things about it.
I've also got almost 100 hours, but I was just bad.
Yeah, because my first 100% was 56 hours and yours was 80? Holy crap.
You don't have to throw the numbers out, Jacob.
Holy crap. That was for 85%. Oh, no.
We've discussed this. I'm just not good at games.
No, it's fair. Like I've also
It was harder than Hollow Knight.
It was. Hey, you were triumphant, if you will. So, Jordan, let's get the dreaded question out of the way. Was this worth the 8-day wait?
Oh, dude, I was struggling. Like I was
the long wait. Was it worth it?
I honestly don't think it's fair that I asked this question, that I answer this question, because I wasn't there day one like you were. You were waiting for Silksong to be the DLC that came with Hollow Knight, not the second game to the franchise that's arguably better than the first.
Yeah, I don't even know what to do with Nintendo Directs anymore, dude. I'm like, what? Like, what do I? Why? Like, there's nothing.
Well, why do I go back?
Yeah,
I'm not waiting for the next Pokemon game. It's
the weirdness it felt when I played, like booting up Silksong and playing it felt weird for like an hour. I was like, I can't even comprehend. Like, it's not a gag. Like, it's real. It's not fake. Like, it was very surreal. So as soon as booting it up and hearing that OST, I was like, this is so wild. So. Do I think it was worth the wait? I don't even need the whiteboard. I do think so. I definitely think so. Would it have been nice to get more updates throughout and not been as silent as they were? 100%. And I think that would have boded far well with the community if we just got consistent updates. But I think overall, the original is a Kickstarter game made by 3 people. This is a $20 game that has gotten me almost 100 hours of content in it that is ridiculously high quality. I've tried to boot up 3 brand new games. Silent Hill F, there was the new Dying Light game, there was another game.
Was it Shinobi?
Yeah. And like none of them are bad at all, but like the whole time I'm like, these are $70. Like the Silent Hill F is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's 8 hours and it's fine. And I'm like, the only thing I'm thinking of when I'm playing this is like, God, I can't wait to go back and play Silksong for a 3rd time. Like, it's insane. So I do think so. That's just the only thing I would say is like, I wish we got more consistent updates and it wasn't as freaking silent. But
hey, Team Cherry, I'm glad you were having fun building the game. Tell us?
Yeah.
You could have talked, like, even if you told us, man, having such a good time designing this game. What was it, 5 years of radio silence where literally nothing on their socials?
Yeah, it was like a 2019 trailer and then just silence. And they were like, 2023 is the year. And then they're like, Q4 2023. Silence until the beginning of like 2025. Nothing. So it's like, yeah, that would have been nice. But I think most Hollow Knight fans are very satisfied. And I think over time, I mean, again, the community has grown for 7-8 years now. You know, it's like we've had
what was the all-time Steam count on Hollow Knight?
Like 20,000 before that trailer dropped, even though, and then it jumped to like 100,000, and then Silksong launches with like 580 in the first freaking day. So really good stuff. But I think even just over time, the love will grow and grow more. I think there was a lot of differences in Silksong than there is the original, and maybe that was just super jarring for other people at first, but I think it's excellent. So and definitely well worth. So
absolutely. All right, last question. What's this game out of 10?
Final score out of 10. I feel everything that we have stated so far. This is just title for the video: Hollow Knight Silksong Glaze Fest. That's the idea. That's the idea. 3, 2, 1. 11 Shaws out of 10, of course.
It literally. I think I rated Hollow Knight the same way. I think I gave it an 11 just because again it became one of my favorites of all time. And now I'm afraid to go back to Hollow Knight and be like, man, this isn't Silksong.
I know. I think they each have their own play. I don't think it negates. I'm very happy Hornet plays different than the Knight does, for sure. I don't know if we dip too much into that, but like I am very happy about that.
It was a super jarring experience to like jump in with a diagonal pogo.
Oh yeah,
I like the diagonal. Like, don't get me wrong. I used it for the first half of the game, and then I was like, you know what? Let's give Reaper Crest another shot. And then I stuck with it. I made fun of my friend for doing that, and I was like, oh, you're playing the game on easy mode. And then I was like, oh wait, easy mode's actually really fun.
Exactly. To be fair, I get the frustrations for traversal on the diagonal, but I genuinely combat really liked the directional pogo. So, and like I said, I liked that they could have played everything exactly the same. So I think they played to their strengths. They added the necessary things that needed to be added for this character and world, and I don't think it makes the original feel obsolete in any way, except maybe some of the movement. Like I'm gonna miss that movement for sure, specifically with the running. But on most cases, I think they both stand on their own. And again, it just to echo the idea that like, this is a $20 video game retail to offer this level of content quality. They could have charged $40 for this, and most of the community would not have even sighed or bat an eye. They'd been like, yeah, that was worth $40. Like, this is a $40 to $50 worth video game sold for $20, made by 3 guys. What world is this not a 10? How is that even? How is that the case?
It's too good. Any of the games that are coming out nowadays that are $70, I'll be honest, I used to be a defender of $70 games.
Me too.
I was like,
this game is ruining it. Yeah, it's ruining it.
There's a bunch of games this year that have come out that I'm like, man, maybe I was definitely wrong, because I thought things are getting more expensive. Yeah, like we went a long time with $60 games. We were really spoiled with how inflation was going. Like, some of these companies really need this. And then things like, boom, Expedition 33, boom, Silksong. What other games have come out this year that are like $30?
Split Fiction.
Split Fiction, boom, $50.
And your co-op, they don't even have to pay. Only one person has to pay for it, or you just split the one game.
Literally, yeah. But Blueprint's not my favorite game of this year, but still a very well-made game that a lot of people are considering one of the best games. All these games are less than $50, and I've enjoyed way more than anything else that I've played this year, apart from maybe Battlefield 6.
Yeah, I mean, like, think of it, like Hades 2 just dropped for $30.
Again,
and I'm like,
$30
you can buy Silksong and Hades 2, get cannot stress enough, well over 100 hours of content. And more doesn't always mean better, but in these cases they are. They're more content, they're better content, and Silent Hill F is $70. It's 8 hours long, and it's like, the whole time I was playing, I was like, man, really wish I was playing. I'm playing once I'm done with this. I might not even edit this tonight. Like, I'm just going to go platinum Silksong. Like, it's all I'm thinking of. So, but no, completely agreed. It's like, this is like, I was also probably a little bit too defending heavy on the $70 games. And like, now I'm like, God, I don't know, man. Like, that's crazy. It's ruining it.
These guys have just proven that you don't need all that cash in order to... Like, all of this is going to marketing. Like, that's all they're doing. That and lining their pockets. Yeah. It's crazy. Like, especially, like, just a little Expedition 33 glaze, because I still think that's my favorite game of the year. Despite how good Silksong is. Like, it's neck and neck, but Expedition edges it out just a little bit. I mean, it looks like a $70... Like, no offense against Silksong at all, but it definitely looks like an indie game that would run a little bit less. Most Expedition runs, looks, plays, sounds... Everything is screaming AAA, and it's not.
No.
It's just too good.
I think 2025 has been the year for that, and Silksong is most certainly spearheading a lot of that conversation with Expedition and others too. But
100%.
It's just they're doing it. Team Cherry, bravo. They had a lot to live up to, and I think they did. I think they did superb. Genuinely, there are some gripes, but it's in the same thing where it's like, I never once got that frustrated as some other people like to lead everyone else to believe online. And it's just like, for anything that I felt frustrated in, there was 100 other things that I was like, this is amazing. And I was like, this is a $20 video game that's got this level of quality. Like I said, any frustration, there was more tools around it that I could get around to. So yeah, this was literally just the Silksong Glaze Fest, but I think it deserves it for being this level of hype, this long of a wait time, and to actually deliver something high quality. Like, this could have been an easy fumble or we played it too safe. You know what I mean? I think they struck a perfect balance as they could with playing to the strengths, adding definitely things to make it feel and look different for sure, that were on the riskier side, but not going too risky where it doesn't feel like Silksong, or Hollow Knight. Like, we wanted Hollow Knight, and we got Hollow Knight, but it was different Hollow Knight.
Yeah, so, I mean, we asked them if they could make a free throw for us. Thought it would be great if they could make a 3-pointer, and they gave us a half-court shot.
Yeah.
They literally just blew me away. Like, all of my expectations for the crazy long wait that I had, I was shocked.
Exactly. Amazing.
Thank you, Team Cherry, for all of the stuff that you've given to us. I will definitely be playing again and again and again.
In 2035, it's going to be glorious.
I can't wait for what is it, Pablo? Is that the third game of the series? Yeah. Look out for Pablo coming out in the next 20 years.
Genuinely, really looking forward to the DLC.
Oh my gosh,
I'm itching for a Home DLC.
Give us some pantheons, please. There's so many bosses that I want to refight.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go back to Carmelita. I want to go back to Last Judge again. The Last Judge was so much fun. You're so right. You hit the nail on the head. That thing is just so underrated.
I want Phantom. I want hard modes. I want Pantheon. Gosh. So we need that. Very excited for that. They have to.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they have to. There's no way they don't do that. So glad to see that we were loving Silksong. And definitely let us know your individual rating for Silksong. Any of in the last video, everyone took our questions that we had and just listed your answers for it. Definitely hit that up again as well.
Yeah. I feel like we're going to get a lot more variety on this one because of just how wide the build options are. I'd love to see how other people are playing so that I know how to abuse the system the next time that I go through the game.
Exactly. Well, again, I guess there's no real way to
bye.
See ya.